Welcome to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Welcome into Inside Hilltopper Athletics. I am Todd Allum. Joining me for our first segment, head coach of Acro and Tumbling, Kelsey Kyle. Coach, welcome back to the show. I want to welcome back everybody. It's been a good while since we've done one of these between traveling for men's basketball and then also having illness, the flu, go through our broadcast crew and whatnot. So I'm glad we're back. We're finally doing this. Everybody's healthy. Unfortunately, we've missed some things with acro and tumbling and all these other sports, but we can get to some highlights of things that we missed. Big moments for three ladies in particular for acro and tumbling. Two first-team All-MEC members, and Kayla Gandy, Abby Horvath, and then Avery Ray, also second-team All-MEC coach. Tremendous year this year, tremendous for these three ladies.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that season's over already. I feel like it just started, but whenever you start practicing in August and then you don't start competing until February, by the time season actually rolls around, it's like you blink and it's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so happy and so proud of those athletes that made all conference. Abby, well, all three of them are seniors, all three of them are seniors. But just starting with Abby, she has had a phenomenal career here. She was conference freshman of the year and then has been a 4-time all-conference athlete. So great to see her get all-conference again. Same with Kayla. She transferred in after her first year. While she's been here, she was a 3-time first-team all-conference athlete. And then same with Avery. She's a repeat second-team all-conference. So just so happy for them to be able to finish their careers out with getting very well-deserved accolades.
Absolutely so. And for the players that are returning for the next season, and hopefully more than that too, having players and teammates get these kind of accolades, how much does that really build them up to, hey, I want to get to that level too. We want to make sure that we continue to have at least 2 or 3 members from West Liberty every single year on these postseason awards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's great to have like that motivation and have that inspiration. And then also if you just look at the all-conference list for every team, the majority of the first team girls were all seniors or grad students this year. So I think that's just really exciting, not just for our team, but for just the conference in general, to get to see a very, very talented class of seniors competing this year. But then also just knowing that there's going to be so many new, fresh faces upcoming, and excited to kind of see the athletes that we have returning next year, plus our freshman class coming in, and how they can kind of all be added into that equation.
And that's another part that I was going to ask about this. When you have these many players winning postseason awards, how much does that really help recruiting? We know you got the freshman class already coming in, but after that, the optics of it has to be very good.
Yeah, and I think that anytime that our name's getting out there, that you can see those accolades, those awards on social media especially, anything that can create a buzz to get people to talk about the sport, and then West Liberty, we love that, so.
This year, in your mind, I know it's kind of lumping the entire season into one question, but from what your expectations were to how things went, your take on the season in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whenever you're looking at our sport specifically, sometimes it's hard to compare year to year. I think we've talked about this before a little bit on here. Hard to compare year to year, hard to compare even meet to meet, just when we're looking at scores that they're always different, and depending on different panels of officials, different locations that we're competing in, you can see scores fluctuate so often. So sometimes it's hard to be, I guess, like black and white on what our expectations versus reality is when it comes to certain things. Of course, we're looking to win a conference championship every year, so I feel like that's one like pretty set goal that we've had that we're going to keep, striving for. But when it comes to looking at expectations and then looking at what is actually happening week to week, I'm just proud of my girls for being able to go out there and to hit solid events at most of our meets, especially at our last few meets of the season. We saw very minimal mess ups, very minimal falls, which that's something that when you're competing these events that are so hard, and just skills that are very difficult, you run that risk. So I'm just proud of them for remaining super composed and being able to go out there and hit their skills most of the time this season.
And we've talked previously about how every offseason it seems like the scoring system gets changed up a little bit. Certain things are valued a little bit more. Do you have a little bit of an inkling of what might change going into next season already?
So normally we don't find that out until like late summer, early fall. We don't get our official like SV, which is our start value file, until we're into the fall semester. So it does make it a little bit difficult when kind of planning ahead, but it's also nice too because then you have time in the fall to really get your team back on campus to start training those basic skills and then kind of seeing where the natural strengths of the team are and then being able to match that up with those high start values once you find them out.
And then looking forward to next season, the strengths of the team this year, do you feel that it'll be the same strengths or will be stronger in different areas with next season's team?
Honestly, I think it's just too soon to tell right now just because I have 9 seniors that are graduating. I have 12 freshmen coming in right now. So it's going to shake things up and it's going to change things. And I think whenever you look at our athletes coming in from different backgrounds, whether it's cheer, whether it's gymnastics, all of those skills are going to translate a little differently. So I'm just excited to be able to get back in the fall, to be able to start training those new athletes and really just being able to see how they intermix with our athletes that are already here and just kind of, like I said, see where their strengths are then.
We talked about the Mountain East Conference Championships, some all-team stuff. I know at one point the MEC was the only conference in the country to have a conference championship. Is it still that way, or has that expanded a little further?
It's one of 2. So
Okay.
There's the Mountain East Conference and then Conference Carolinas.
Okay.
So we kind of led the way with the MEC back in 2019, and then a few years after that is when Conference Carolinas added. So it's nice to see that it's still growing, still progressing. Hopefully, I think there's, especially in Division II, there's some other conferences that are getting up there where they could potentially have enough to compete. You have to have 6 teams to compete and host a championship. So I'm excited to kind of see where that goes. And hopefully it kind of expands, across the country and not just in our regions. But
We saw this sport kind of explode there for a few years and just teams every single offseason, more and more teams. It's still kind of kept that same pace, or has it slowed down a little bit?
yeah, we're still adding. I think you're seeing just different divisions add. We've seen an influx in Division I schools recently, which is awesome to see, awesome to get just schools in different pockets of the country adding, more in the Midwest, more in the southern regions, a lot more in like the Texas area. So we were really lucky that we kind of had that big boom in our area first with a lot of the West Virginia schools, a lot of the MEC schools in the surrounding states. So it's nice to see some of those other pockets of the country kind of following suit.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out for this whole season. Again, apologize for illnesses and things of that nature lately, so we couldn't do as many shows. But congratulations to you, your team, the seniors. Congratulations to everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show all season. And we'll see you next year, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, stick around. We'll be right back for more Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Joining me for the second segment, head coach of men's basketball, Ben Howlett. Coach, welcome back to the show. Every segment I'm going to be saying this. It's been a while since we've done one of these because of illness and other things. Had a nice trip out to Evansville. Before that, we had regions here. I think the last time we had a show was post MEC conference tournament, so quite a bit to talk about. But that first game here at the region, or hosting the region, had to be quite a bit of fun before we get into the games. I know that was a goal. This team accomplished hosting region. What was kind of the message to the team after they accomplished that?
Well, not only did we want to host it, we wanted to do something with it. So we talked about that as a team and as a staff. And obviously when we got the first round matchup with Bluefield, a little bit uncomfortable just because we've already played them. And then just a familiarity with the style play that Bluefield had with us and we had with them. So we knew we had our hands full, but obviously we were very excited to get the region here and host it.
It was a close one with Bluefield State. The Toppers would win that first round matchup, and then they would have to take on Fayetteville State, which kind of, funnily, that's where Devin Hearn is now the head coach at Fayetteville State. So congrats to Devin Hearn moving on up in the CIAA. Toppers would win by 20 against Fayetteville State in the second round, Sweet 16. The Toppers got past Gannon. A little bit of redemption there for you from the previous year, winning the region on your home floor against a really tough opponent. That had to be an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, it was, and just can't thank our fan base enough. That atmosphere was second to none. And you know, just talking with a bunch of past players and people that watched the game, I feel like that was the best atmosphere that I've been a part of in the ASRC. It was one of those games where every single possession, you know, the crowd was into it, and I know our players appreciated that crowd as well. And just obviously, yep, redemption was on our mind, but a lot of new players and for them a new coaching staff, and it was just a really high-level game for us. And I thought our guys were dialed in from the get-go. I could tell that day there was no smiling at shoot around. They meant business. And you know, both teams back and forth at the beginning of the game. It was just high-level basketball, and just made some plays there in the second half and got up by, I think, 18 there in the second half and pulled away and got a really good win.
Absolutely. Topper Nation was going crazy for that one here at the ASRC in that Sweet 16 matchup. The Toppers earned their way to Evansville to play in the Elite Eight and ran into Cinderella in that one, Cal State Dominguez Hills. They did this to just about everybody. It seemed to be their MO. I think even going back to their region where they'd get down by a bunch and then make a huge comeback in the second half. We saw it happen in every game out in Evansville that they played. They almost won a national title. It seemed like Cinderella was going to get her slipper put on permanently, but kind of fell short in the end. But that team was a very, very good team throughout, and the Toppers almost had it at the end as well. So just a crazy, crazy ending.
It was, and you know, starting with their personnel, they're just an old team. They had, I think, 5 graduate transfers on their team, so they were an old team. And you know, as a coach, you always look back on the losses and say, I could have done this, I could have done that. And when we got up 17, I believe in the second half at one point, you know, we went on like a 4 to 5 minute span where we just couldn't score. And you know, probably looking back, should have ran more set plays and maybe substituted a little bit more. But you know, again, big picture wise, we had a great season. You know, we ended up 30-5, and you know, fell short in the Elite Eight game by 2 points, and certainly had our chances to win that game. So just ultra proud of this team. If you would have told me 30-5 in September, I would have said you're crazy. But we just kept getting better and better, and again, just really proud of this team and the coaching staff.
And to me, that's got to be one of the biggest things when you're out recruiting, trying to get guys to come into this program. The fact that there were so many new faces, and all of those faces had significant playing time for the Toppers this year and still made it out to Evansville. I think that's somewhat unprecedented at times. It feels like, well, the way this transfer portal is going, maybe that'll happen more and more often. But to have that many new faces and still have that big of a run, that long of a run, is kind of incredible to me.
Yeah, and I think our guys just bought in. And I don't know when that exactly happened, because that wasn't the case at one point in the season. But they ended up buying in and just kind of all had a role, and then they dominated the role. And that's important for a team, is to have guys that not everyone's going to be a scorer. Not everyone's going to be a shot taker. You know, we need to have guys that can do other things. And once our guys figured out those roles and bought in, we became a really good team.
Absolutely so. And you see moments with guys like Vadim Clinette, who maybe you don't look at as a scorer all year long, but down at Fairmont State, at Fairmont, was a huge reason the Toppers got wins. You saw performances like that from guys throughout the season, whether they're freshmen or last year guys playing. Big moments for everybody throughout this season. So it's good to see that. And again, that's got to help with recruiting, knowing, hey, at any given point, any given game, you could be the guy.
Yeah, and you know, we do have a lot coming back next year.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I wanted to do that you hear more and more in college basketball now, and in college sports in general, is you got to re-recruit your own players. And so, you know, at the end of the year, we had some tough discussions with guys on things they need to get better at and things they need to improve on. And those guys just said, okay, coach, I'll be better for next year. So the group of guys that we have coming back for next year is solid. And you know, we've already added a couple guys. Can't talk on them right now, but we've added a couple guys, and we're going to add a couple more from the transfer portal. And from a roster standpoint for next year, even in West Liberty terms, I think we could be really, really good. And obviously got to stay healthy and got to work hard in the offseason, but I have a really good feeling about next year's team.
And it's kind of the polar opposites in my mind. This past season, you had guys like Finn and Lance and Dante that had made it out, or at least Finn and Dante that had been to that Elite Eight, been to Evansville before. Now, you've got a lot of guys on this roster that have been there, done that. So if that happens again, you earn your way out there again. There are no bright lights. This is where we're supposed to be. So that's kind of the exciting part of this for West Liberty basketball in the future. Great year in general. I guess in the back of my mind, the only thing I could think about, I know you can't really talk too much about the recruiting, but that's what I think everybody is on everyone's mind in Topper Nation. Who's coming in and what's next year's team going to look like? They're really looking forward to it.
I can tell you this, we've worked nonstop at that so far, and that's the way I get over defeats is just look in the future here. And that's, on the bus ride home, Coach Butler and I were going over recruits, and it's been nonstop, and I'm not spending any time with my wife still because I'm just recruiting nonstop. So, but the Toppers are going to be back next year. We're going to be back, and we're going to be better than ever, and I'll make sure of that.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out all season long to be with us and doing these shows. Good luck in recruiting. Good luck this upcoming season in the off season. I know your kids are going to be working hard. It seems like you always get those type of kids, so it'll be fun to watch. Again, thank you so much. Folks at home, thank you for watching this segment and watching all year long for men's basketball. And stick around because we'll be right back for more Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Joining me for this third segment, head coach of West Liberty Tennis, Ron Holowitz. Coach, welcome back. I've been saying this to start every segment. It's been a while because of illness and other things. A lot has gone on since the last time you and I have spoken on one of these shows. Maybe too much to have enough time to talk about. I don't think we have enough time to speak about every single match and event that has happened since the last time we spoke. But there have been some great things for tennis, particularly on the women's side. Evelina has done an unbelievable job this season, the number one spot for the women's team, and she has been on a tear this year.
Yeah, undefeated, so we're hoping, she can keep it going here. Looking to set some records, hopefully, and she may have been robbed of 1 year, of course, playing 3 of the 4 years, not having a program last year, but boy, she's certainly going out on the right note, and we're really excited, these next 3 matches here. And, we'll see. Hopefully she can continue what she's doing. So she's been prepping pretty well, conditioning, training hard, as have her teammates. And she's had a lot of help from Omawade as well, right below, playing at that 2 spot. I mean, the 2 of them have been really a dominant force for the team. And they were a big reason leading us to a nice win about 2 weeks ago against Frostburg. So we picked up another good win, so second conference win. So really excited about that because that puts us already in 5th place of 7. We were preseason 7th, so we've been working hard, getting some help from some of the other players too. They're all developing, doing a nice job, working hard. Morale seems pretty good. They're working. We're going in each day. We realize, okay, we've got to make improvements. We can't keep doing the same thing. Maybe it worked in high school. Some of us, I think, we're starting to, learn that we really need to expand. And all right, how do we grow the toolbox here? What do we do? But yeah.
So far this year, again, we kind of talked about it in our first preseason show where this team it's the first year back. So it's kind of not a first-year program, but sort of kind of is a first-year program again. And to have this much success with a couple of these individual players is just tremendous. And again, moving up the ranks, preseason 7th being the first year back, but you're at 5th place right now. How much does that really kind of boost the team morale? How often do you talk about that in practice? And how much does it keep them going?
Well, it's a great motivating factor. Again, when they came out the preseason poll, and I think a lot of us were kind of like, yeah, but again, to be expected, and especially if you saw us in the fall when we didn't even have a full roster, I can't blame the others that were voting and putting this together. But it's definitely, I mean, I think part of it's a relief too, especially for the girls. I feel like, it's like, all right, we've already gotten 2 fish on the boat. Anything else, this is house money. We're at that point now where we can be loose. I mean, and the best part about the remaining matches for both guys and girls is, we're in chase mode. Nobody's chasing us. We get to go out and chase these other teams down the stretch here. So that's, it's kind of a good feeling.
And in terms of recruiting as well, when you talk to kids that you're trying to bring in from high schools to say, hey, this is what they thought of us, and this is how well we did with the resources that we had being back in our first season as a full-time team, that has to be a pretty good feeling as well, knowing you can kind of boast that a little bit.
Yes, and I think we've noticed a little bit of an uptick, some emails, some inquiries from a lot of the student athletes in West Virginia, Ohio, actually a couple from PA too, kind of noticing that, saying, hey, I'm interested in playing at West Liberty next year. And so I think, kind of we're back on the map, we have returned, and I think that's kind of definitely a really bright spot. So especially right now, students are about to go into, well, many of them have already finished signing, but still we're hitting kind of that key signing date here, that window. And so as we're kind of finishing up recruiting for next season. So.
Well, we got about 3 matches left for this season, and I believe all of them will be played before next Tuesday, or at least by next week. So by the next time we have a show, the season will be finished, and these seniors have had a good season as well. Evelina, plus some of the others, and just speak on them and how they kind of got through this season, knowing it was going to be their final year of tennis at West Liberty.
Yeah, I think they look back, and especially Evelina, you look at her situation. This was just a bonus. She had already had a wonderful career, her first 2 years of playing. And then you look last year, I'd be walking the track a lot of times, and who's that girl down there, hitting serves, putting the net up down there. So her dedication, she had that fuel, that fire, and it was really impressive to see, if anything, she's only more fiery now. She's really wanted it, and to help put us back, like I said, back on the map. A lot of credit really goes to her and her ambition, her drive. She will definitely be missed, but we are grateful her sister is coming and joining us next year, so it'll still be, in the program. So, and then, we picked up Omoade as a transfer. She came in from West Virginia Wesleyan. Can't say enough great things about her. What a really nice addition. Of course, we just wish we had her longer, but she's going to continue to be with the team, to practice with them. She's a very high level, lots of power. Great for the players to see that, to practice with that. And I want to shout out to Federico, too. He'll be wrapping up, these last 3 matches as a senior. He walked into my office. We had a conversation back in October about, hey, I'd like to, be part of the tennis team. He had an interest, and so very grateful. Very, very talented young man, very athletic, great student. Excited to see what he does in the future as well. And he walked in, like I said, being a dual sport athlete, very good soccer player, and ended up playing, at the top spot in our tennis lineup. So a very talented player. So it's just, week in, week out, he's playing a very, very high level competition. And but he's improving, each week. So, but these seniors, they will definitely be missed.
With some of these seniors and older players, do you get an inkling from any of them that they might want to go into coaching at some point?
It's a good question. I think a lot of them are focused on grad school right now, kind of pursuing their studies. I know Evelina's pursuing a PhD, so it doesn't sound like she'll have that. But maybe seasonally, maybe a little bit part-time. I think there's always that option. Omoade is a perfect example, continuing with her studies here with the nursing program. She's going to be basically like a volunteer assistant coach next year. But yeah, I think there's always that possibility, especially maybe if you're transitioning or just graduating or you have that time off, for a little bit. But they would definitely be strong candidates to be, really good coaches with their leadership skills and what they bring to the table.
And for both the teams, men's and women's, the players returning for next season, what can the fans and the fans of West Liberty's tennis hope to see from some of the returners?
They're going to continue to grow. We're getting quicker, we're getting stronger, we're getting smarter. We've really made some strides, and another shout out to our GA. Lucas in the weight room has done a great job with us in conditioning and weights, and we had him starting in January. So I think, when we get off, when boot camp hits, at the end of August, we're getting here, our mile times, everything, improving. I think it's going to make a big difference this time, coming right out of the gate. And I think that was one of the biggest challenges this time around was, just to get by that first year. We had a couple bodies here, then we picked up a couple more, and then just little by little, but consistently being able to come out of the gate all together. I think that's really going to make a difference. And seeing that exposure, I think for some of the players, this was very eye-opening, especially like a lot of the local players, more regional players, OVACs. And going out and seeing some of the competition, it's playing against some of these international players, you're like, wow, there's some talent out there. And again, many of these kids have been playing, they're playing their homeschool, they're playing 4 or 5 hours a day. And so to see that exposure, that level, so I think that's, and more incentive that they're going to, really work hard this summer, play some tournaments, stay sharp, and with their conditioning too. So, but yeah.
Well, we got Davis and Elkins coming up next. I know we got 3 matches, but the first one is D&E. Don't want to have to make you look too far ahead. What can we expect to see from Davis and Elkins?
A solid team going through a coaching transition right now, but they have the players. We know they're going to be ready to play, and that's their senior day, so surely they're going to be all amped up and ready to play. But again, just really focusing on our end. If they're going to beat us, they're going to beat us with good shots. We don't have an issue. If they beat us with too good of a shot, there's nothing that we can do. But really trying to limit our mistakes and at the end of the day, give ourselves the best possible chance. Put some pressure on them. And if we do the little things right, consistency, making shots, making serves, making returns, we're going to get some really good looks in a lot of these matches, I feel. So, but Davis and Elkins is a very talented team.
Well, Coach, I think that's going to give us about our time limit for this segment. Thank you so much for showing up today. I'm glad to be back and getting to talk with you again after some illnesses. But good luck coming up against Davis and Elkins, and we will see you next show.
Yes, thank you. Go Toppers.
All right, folks, stick around. We'll be right back for more on Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Joining me for this segment, head coach of baseball here at West Liberty, Eric Burkle. Coach, welcome back. Like I've told every coach, it's been a good while since we've done one of these because of illnesses with the broadcast people, myself included. Way too many games to talk about in the short amount of time we have to talk. But the Toppers have split, swept, and all kinds of things throughout since. But this past little stretch for West Liberty has, what you described, has been very, very tough matchups for you.
Yeah, the scheduling gods weren't in our favor with this one. From the time we started at Glenville, we go down to Glenville and we split, and then we go to Concord, who's leading the South, and take 2 on the head there, and then we go right to Frostburg, the team that's leading the North, and second place in the North Point Park is who we just had. We get to breathe this week with Salem, and nothing against Salem, but they're just not non-conference games, so you get to, all right, regroup, and then we go right to a team that we need that's right in front of us at Fairmont. So this month stretch has been rough, and the weather is bad too. So
the Toppers, though, were able to split at Point Park on Sunday. Game 2 of that, the Toppers were able to come back and get a 9-4 victory against Point Park in that one. A good bounce-back game for you.
it was, and we changed some stuff up coaching-wise, where myself and the pitching coach we double-teamed the pitch calling efforts, and it took 4 games. Todd, I'm telling you that is probably one of the best offenses at the D2 level I've seen in a long time. Now, I haven't seen – I was told that Lenore Ryan has a great offense, but what I saw out of Point Park is a very good team, and it took us as coaches 3 games to make an adjustment, to figure it out. But now, if we play them in a tournament, we have a better game plan. But they 1 through 9, they're good. And their leadoff hitter, when he swings the bat, he does not miss. He has bat on ball every pitch that you throw. He's good.
Does it seem like the Mountain East Conference as a whole is just continuing to get better and better in baseball?
Absolutely. It's the addition of Point Park has made us better as a conference with strength of scheduling. And Coach Torres is a great guy, and he's fun to work with. The North this year is a battleground. We're going to win over 20 games and may not make the tournament. Wheeling, unfortunately, is struggling with some injuries. He's really up against it. But even in the South now, I think the third-place team in the South has a losing record and is probably going to make the tournament with a losing MEC record. Each week it's fun to look at the scores because there's not many sweeps anymore. It's usually a split, especially when you get to your 4-game series. Somebody's winning a ball game. So it's very competitive, very tight, and it's fun to be a part of it.
I know looking at the standings throughout the season, West Liberty might be third in the North at certain times, and you're looking down at the South, and like, okay, they would have been second and sitting pretty had they been in the South Division. It's just kind of weird how those things turn out, and unfortunately, that's how the seedings go with those kinds of things. But at the same time, it kind of makes you feel good about you. Like, hey, we're in the tough division, and we're doing pretty well for ourselves still.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part is the South has been the strong conference for the last few years, or the south end of it. But this year, the North, when you have 4 teams that are just really going after it and only 3 of us make it, it's somebody's going to get left out. And right now, we're that team that we're the chaser, which it takes the pressure off of us a little bit. You know, we were picked to finish 5th. We're battling for 3rd with Fairmont, so it gives our guys a little incentive and keeps them going pretty strong.
That was going to be one of my questions, knowing that you got some rivalry teams coming up, just school rivalry, maybe not necessarily baseball in general, but Fairmont and Wheeling coming up towards the end of the season, with Salem and Slippery Rock before that. But not to get too far ahead of it, but you kind of answered that, the preparation and wanting to have those type of rivalry games at the end of the season. Yeah,
we've already started to look ahead to Fairmont, and you're absolutely right. Fairmont, being that I'm a baseball alum from Fairmont, Wheeling because it's 4 miles away. Trust me, those are our 2 biggest rivals. Those games get chippy, they're fun. Coach Lewicki and I at Wheeling have already moved our last weekend series. We usually play Friday, Sunday. This is our year to host Friday, but we've switched that to Wheeling. We're going to play at 7 o'clock at night, so the whole city of Wheeling's there, and it gets loud and it gets fun. And we're already looking ahead to Fairmont with scouting reports and logging stuff into our computer stuff. So yes, those are the 2 series that mean everything in the world to us right now.
Well, you got a couple of non-conference games to kind of brush up on some things before you get there. What can we expect to see from Salem and Slippery Rock?
Slippery Rock is we had a catcher in Cam Jackson that battled an injury last week, so we're going to get him a start behind the plate and give our starting catcher Luke Marsh the day off as much as we can. We'll end up running for Jackson or something, but and then Salem is very good. They've built a program down there that offensively they're a powerhouse too. So we're going to do what we need to do for the weekend, but we're also going to give 4 starting pitchers short outings. We're banged up a little bit. You know, we've got a broken finger at shortstop. We had a concussion behind the plate. We've got a twisted ankle in left field. So we're going to use the weekend to try to get healthy for Fairmont.
I know last year was an injury-riddled season for you, just a tough one. Injuries this year, but comparing the 2 seasons, has this year been a little bit better with that?
Yeah, last year's were season-ending injuries. Yeah. This year, they're the nagging injuries. We have a shortstop that has played the last 4 weeks with a broken pinky. That's going to require surgery, but he won't come out of the game. He's like, Coach, this could be the end of my career. I'm playing. So, and I've told him and Huzika and Jake Sherman's played on a separated shoulder from the first inning of game 1. So it's like during practices now, you don't do anything that can get somebody hurt. You take your time. You protect every position player that you have. Fortunately, the injury bug hasn't hit us on the pitching side. We've gotten some solid pitching from guys. At one point, we put up 11 scoreless innings in a row and lost 2 games in that stretch. And, now you just go to the hitters and say, listen, the pitchers are doing their part. It's time for us to do it. And they've responded, but the pitching in the conference as a whole is pretty good.
I've asked some other coaches this as well, and the way this season has gone with some of the injuries being in a difficult North Division and still having this type of success, how much does that really help in recruiting?
Our next year's recruiting class is good, and it's large. We've really got into the Pittsburgh market. So we played Point Park in Washington, for example. There's 125 people in the stadium. 119 were from the West Liberty side, So, and a lot of those were recruits from the Pittsburgh area. So it does help. They see guys hurt and they see them battling through. And trust me, the guys that play hurt for us, I've there were weeks that I've gone to them after a rough series, the Concord-Glenville series, where we go 1-3, and it's you just give them a hug and just say thanks. And it's been good. And when recruits see that, whether that's me giving them a hug or me thanking them or them just playing hurt, it helps, obviously. Playing at home would help.
Well, Coach, I know you got some big ones coming up. We'll talk
Yes.
again before, I believe, you get to play some of the Wheeling and Fairmont. We'll be back here, I believe, before those games.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
be back here next Tuesday. This is our last midweek game. It's tough because the season flies by.
Yes, it
It's-
does.
We just started a few weeks ago, and now it's over.
Yep.
So it's tough.
Well, Coach, I can't thank you enough for being on the show with us. I look forward to having another show after having such a long break because of illnesses and other things. But good luck against Slippery Rock and Salem coming up. Folks, stick around. We'll be right back for our final segment of Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, our final segment with head coach of track, Jason Falvo. Outdoor season has begun. It's been a while since we've gotten to talk.
Yeah.
But a lot of things have happened since then. We had the season opener down at WVU. Then we had Mount Union, an invitational there as well. A lot of things have gone on, but at Mount Union, Hunter Patterson, first place finish in the 100-meter and 200-meter, finished clocking in, I believe, at 10.45 in the 200-meter.
10.42. 10.42, yeah.
Unbelievable for Hunter Patterson. We saw him do it throughout the year in indoor track. Now he's doing it outdoor as well.
Yeah, and we had our home meet in there too, and just it's been a whirlwind of competitions, but we perform really well. You got Kiara Ross right now sitting at 9th in the country in the long jump, jumping 6:13, which is 20 feet and an inch. Certainly feel like she's got her spot set in long jump. And then Hunter's obviously running well. His 100 at 10:42, I would say, is pretty good, but it hasn't been in a race yet. So hopefully this week we'll get a race out of him, and we'll see if we can go a little lower. And then his 200 at 21:00,
Right.
Really breaking that 21 barrier, getting the 20-second mark is massive in terms of the 200-meter across the country. So we're looking forward to him doing that this week as well. And really, it's been a good indoor season for sure. And we talked about this before. Our really good kids are doing really good. Our kids that are developing very well. And we're progressing through the grind of the season, right? This is kind of our last regular season meet week, as we say. We have 3 different places we're going to. Then next week is outdoor conference championships, and then it's on to the postseason for some of our top kids. So it's been coming at you fast if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, that's kind of incredible. I know it's been a while since we've had one of these shows, but the last time we spoke, we were talking about indoor championships, and now immediately we're going to the outdoor. So it's an unbelievably quick season.
Yeah, the outdoor component of track and field is the smallest portion of it, although it's the most comfortable for most track athletes because it's what they do in high school. But it's the smallest portion, unless you're really running towards nationals, then it feels long. So like when the local state championships and the 3 states that we're around all go on, 2 of them are in front of us. One of them is the same weekend as us at nationals. So it has that kind of feel. But if you don't qualify, it's like 6 weeks and it's over, and here we go. It comes at you quick. So we're looking forward to finishing strong, and the weather being nice. Not so much today, but generally speaking, we've had good weather. So we're excited about it.
We had the distance runners do well at Bucknell.
Yeah.
How did things go there?
Rainy, windy, but Mac Allen put down his lifetime best in the 10K, which is great for him. He's really positioned himself well at conference. He's top 6 in the conference right now. I thought Jasper Brown ran a great 5K, positioning himself to do some things at conference. And then, Francis too ran the 800, ran a gutsy 800, coming off his best performance the week before at Slippery Rock. And then Morgan Lazansky got into a hot heat of some fast runners and ran a really good time and a really kind of awkward race for her. And I thought she handled it really well. So we're excited about what they did at Bucknell, and they'll all compete, regionally this week as well. So we're looking forward to it.
We had some of the field events as well with the Bison Classic for Bethany. I believe was held here at West Liberty.
Yeah. Bethany switched up kind of how they were hosting their meet. Some of the sprinting and running events were at their track. All the field events were at our facility. We left all our throwers here at home, and really it was a great opportunity for us to have another event at home, right? Who doesn't want to run at home, right? So or throw at home. No, we did a really good job, right? On our ladies' side, Sierra Davis and Pam Candris have had a great season throughout their events. Haley Norris threw hammer really well, and so on and so forth. Down our whole roster really did a good job, guys and gals on our team. Missing Tavo right now. Tavo got a little knee, 24 stitches in his knee. We'll have him back next week, but certainly being at home, having great weather as we did this past Sunday. Was great. A really productive day for us for our throws group, which was phenomenal.
Lucky getting the good weather on the day you were competing. It seems to be just random at late. It's kind of like Mother Nature's just rolling around a magic 8-ball. What kind of weather are we going to get today?
Yesterday, 73. Today,
hail
not so much.
And,
not
all
so
kinds
much.
of craziness going on.
So
coming up, you got Robert Morris coming up on Friday, I believe. What can we expect to see from that meet?
Yeah, we're gonna go to a couple different places.
Okay.
So let me explain. This is where track gets wild, right? We're gonna take the majority of the team to Slippery Rock on Thursday.
Okay.
As a pre-Easter kind of meet. Take the whole roster. We have a backup meet in plan for some of our last chance qualifiers at West Virginia this Saturday. Okay, but we're gonna take the majority of the kids Thursday. Backup plan Saturday at West Virginia. Some potentially is the right word. Hunter Patterson, Kiara Ross, Francis Tui going to University of Virginia Friday, Saturday. So that meet is pretty exclusive to enter. Hopefully we get accepted, and then we'll go there. Unless we can find the right competition locally, then why wouldn't we stay local? It's going to be a good week for that. So we got a couple chances where we're trying to kind of position ourselves in place. Tracking so much of the events is about finding the right competition. You got to, like in Hunter's case, having people in the race with him that can pull him down the track. He wins most of his races, and he'll win, continue to. But having him get competitive races versus somebody who's near his speed is really beneficial. So that University of Virginia meet is part of that. Same with Kiara and the long jump, jumping against high-level jumpers is always good. So we're looking through that process. We'll know a little bit more later today on where we decide to go. But just trying to get our ducks in rows, moving the conference next week. Conference next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at West Virginia. Looking to, again, really put ourselves in a position to do, some great individual things at that meet and then get on to postseason.
Yeah, again, we kind of talked about the quick transition from indoor to outdoor. As a coach, I got to figure if you've done this for a few years, maybe the transition gets a little easier. But for some of the players and some of the runners, again, we've talked about who enjoys the indoor and who enjoys outdoor and things of that nature. Does it seem like some of the kids that enjoy indoor more are maybe getting a little better with the outdoors?
Yeah, I think in a younger athlete who hasn't had a whole lot of indoor experience, they don't quite understand the periodization of the training. Indoor is great. I prefer indoor climate control, just like basketball, roll the ball out, one ball, weather's good all the time, right? Or volleyball. But the progression is that you're trying to build towards your major championships. So all indoor, we're trying to get ready for indoor championships, but yet prepare ourselves for outdoor because of that window. So the grind is real, and if you don't understand that grind of it, it's almost like preseason training for us inside, although we're competing at a high level. Then you transition outdoor where most of the athletes feel comfortable and they're ready to just take off, but because of the grind of outdoor or indoor, maybe they didn't put as much effort and work in as they wanted and they're not quite in the right shape and they want to run good right now, but we're still peaking, and just there's a little bit of like give and take on how we condition to the outdoor, and you really have to make really good progress through the fall, through the winter component, and then once you transition. Because essentially outdoors 6 weeks, and we're going to peak for 3 of them. So you got to get yourself mentally focused, got to come out of outdoor with the right mindset and go. So I think everybody wants to be outside, till we're outside in the rain or the bad weather, but certainly there's a there's a different mindset that comes in with that, and it's quick. It'll come up on you.
Absolutely. I was at a high school track meet in St. Clairsville last week, and the weather was not good. Pretty windy, pretty cold. I felt horrible for the athletes and the people competing. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine.
That's why we moved the Mount Union meet to Sunday, right? The Mount Union moved to Sunday because Saturday was 42 and Sunday was 60.
Yeah.
So you move and try to find those weather days, and we can do that in college, and it just makes some sense. But, I think our kids are transitioning fine. We're super young. I continue to say this, like, over 80% of our roster is sophomore or freshmen, so they're learning. And as we continue to develop a young program, we'll continue to see good performances. Like Hunter's a sophomore in track, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to have him in outdoor season for a couple more years, and Kiara's a sophomore, Sierra's a junior, Tavo's a freshman, right? So a lot of our top kids are going to be around for a long time, so excited to see them develop.
Well, Coach, it's going to be a great one. Good luck coming up in the meets. We'll talk to you again here. And maybe, I know you said Tuesday you probably have a meet, I believe. So
not this Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be good.
So we'll see you next week.
Next week.
We'll have a good one.
I can't miss it. I'm every week.
Well, I try to be,
Yeah,
but
I can't miss it. I'm every week the whole year. Let's go.
No days off. I get some days off. I couldn't help it. I was a little bit sick. Couldn't do a show. That's all right. Coach, no days off. He doesn't get sick. He's man of steel.
I'm not allowed to get sick, I guess.
Well, folks, thank you for joining us on Inside Hilltopper Athletics. We will see you next week.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.